Okay, this one is an interesting video in which when to let yourself get carried, when to recognize that you're getting carried and just let it happen, right? You're not going to be able to play perfect every game. You're not going to be able to play against every team composition or everybody who's playing that team composition, right? Sometimes enemy teams just have players that are making it very difficult for you, right? Uh, and recognize when there's someone else on your team who isn't really having that difficult time and what you can do to just enable them, right? On my main account, on my game to GM3, and this was done on 425 essentially, uh, this was my rank up game to GM3 that I'm talking about. As you can see, it was a really good day. I went from Plat 1 to GM3 in a single day. And I also did it with a 100% win rate on Psylocke, right? It was a really good day overall. I was climbing, I was doing what I do. Uh, but halfway through this game, I realized that something needed to change. And I realized that my Moon Knight here, who ended the game with 60,000 damage, was the best Moon Knight I had ever seen. And I thought to myself, I'm going to switch and just do what I can to enable him. So we're going to watch from my perspective. I'm going to explain my decision making along the way, as I normally do, and then why I decided to switch, right? Despite the fact that I was overall doing rather well, like throughout the day, in this game, I wasn't necessarily doing super well. So here, my team is going to go main. I hear Spidey. I go to flank. And of course, because of the fact that this is a higher elo game, they're marking the sides and making sure that I am not just randomly, coming out here by myself. So once Cloak and Dagger knows that my existence, I try to rotate in position where I'm trying to find the BRB station. I don't notice that it's up there. So now that my team is engaging, and now that my team is engaging in on them, now I want to engage as well, right? When you are a flanker, you want to make sure you time your dives with your front line engaging at the same time. Man, that BRB station's really well hidden there. I should remember that. So here I'm just trying to apply pressure and try an off angle, because then once I off angle, you can see that Moon Knight threw his Onk out there, and it put them all into an awkward position. Even if you can't secure the kill, you want to try and force the enemy into a position in which you can let your teammates secure the kill for you. Here, I'm still trying to harass the supports. What I don't really like about this is I'm harassing the supports, but they're not really caring that I exist. And this was the first time when I realized that I am only halfway, not even, to my ultimate, and Moon Knight had already gotten an ult. And I was like, huh, you got that really quick. That's really interesting. And now I'm trying to get a quick execute on the Bucky, and I'm applying to follow what my team is doing. Burning the rocket ult first, so that way things can die. Trying to help follow up on the Spider-Man, so that way my team can survive. I see my Thor being attacked, so I'm trying to follow up on and make sure that he stays alive. I wonder why they're staying alive, and I look for the rocket, and I don't see that Spider-Man has his sights on me and ends up killing me. End up dying before Cloak and Dagger gets her ult off, but I notice my Moon Knight, who normally is a very easy character to try and kill, is still alive, and he's securing kills, and he's capping the objective. I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Even though I died, I feel like I wasn't doing a whole lot. He still managed to secure the point for us. Now, at this point, while they're all sort of running to regroup with their team, I am trying to contest that space by attacking into them. I'm just trying to help push them back, right? So that would allow our convoy to move up. And our convoy, which has luckily one of our allies on the payload, it is our Cloak and Dagger, which, by the way, this is exactly what support should do. One support should be on the payload. Another support should be up with the team. This allows the payload to move up freely. And because of the fact that we're up here contesting this space, we make it so they can't go to the point like you've seen in my, if you might have seen in my How to Win Convoy map episode video, like normally the enemy team would try and want to contest that space so that way they can stop the convoy as soon as possible to keep it from advancing. This is us advancing closer to them and saying, hey, we don't want you to take this space. We want that convoy to move for free. But at this point, as you'll notice, Moon Knight ulted again. And I was like, wow, what are they feeding you? That's a really fast ultimate. So now that he gets a kill, I try to follow up on what the opening he had created, and I ult and I force the support ult and nothing happens. I go to try and fight the Bucky. I see the health pack. I dash to the health pack and set it through him, and because of it, I get the execute. I go back to rejoin with my team. I'm playing a little bit more aggressive, even though I had low health, because of the fact that at the rank that I'm playing, I can rely on my supports to heal me. And understand that I say that like, even though I have low health, I am fully aware that you can't do that at every rank. I mean, if you find that your supports aren't able to keep up with the amount of healing that you need, then you need to adapt your gameplay to the rank of players that you're playing with. I immediately try to get out of the range of the ult, back up into the health pack while still hitting the supports. Try to apply damage to the rocket ult first and foremost. Spider-Man's out. He uses burst, so now I don't really have to worry about him for a couple of seconds. Apply pressure to the team. Keep an eye out for the Spider-Man, though, because now he's about to engage. You see as a DPS how even though the enemy team has a Spider-Man, I'm not playing it anymore or anything like that. I'm playing Psylocke, but because they have a Spider-Man, I am aware of that flanker, and I am keeping an eye out for them so that way my supports are safe. And I am harassing him, and it leads me to the res station, which is really nice of him. I go to flank the backline real quick to apply some pressure. Mostly because I just couldn't get out of that room easily, so it was the next best decision, I thought. I am immediately just following up with my team. There's 2 ults going off right now, so nothing is going to die. And because nothing is going to die, I immediately start to hide. And once again, attention in this game is a resource. I know people obsess over kills. I know people obsess over telling me in the comments that that's not how you're supposed to play the game. It's not about time. It's not about stalling. It's not about these cheesy tricks. This is a game in the top 99.57% of players, right? I tell my team, just go in there and start feeding. Just hard feed right now. I also let the convoy push me so that way there's no footsteps, so that way they can't hear me. At this point, I realize that now they see me, and I get the point for it. The game is about the objective. You get kills in order to secure time, so that way you can secure the objective. If you forget about the objective and you step off of it, someone like me who hasn't forgot about it is gonna pull some cheesy stuff like this.
Out of sight.
Leave them to Khonshu.
Now I notice he has another ult, and like, I realize that my Moon Knight gets ults really, really fast. I should not have walked back into that. I was gonna try and like get out and try and like get to a position where I could ult on top of her, because I like to use Psylocke ult when she's ulting, because she tends to play really aggressive when she does that. But I noticed that my Moon Knight is just farming damage and getting ults. But the problem with Moon Knight is he doesn't get a lot of final hits. Like, it's very difficult for him to secure the last hit on a lot of that damage that he does. So what he needs is just a little bit of extra follow-up damage. I finally have like the first somewhat decent ult.
Don't mess with the amazing sprite.
Unfortunate timing. And he's got another ult. Like, this is honestly like the best Moon Knight I've ever played with in my life. Here, I am just trying to contest the space so I'm not overextending into that room. That room is dangerous, so I don't want to go into that room. There's too many open areas. There's not enough ways for me to get out. This is the safest choke point for me to stand behind. So as Venom is engaging on my team, I know that Spider-Man is there, and I'm like, hey, Spider-Man's trying to rip people off the edge. I'm trying to stay alive. But I'm trying to stay on the left side of the convoy, knowing that Spider-Man is on the right. I don't want to get hooked and pulled, especially when I don't have my dash. I'm trying to shoot the beacon, but I can't. I'm following up on what I can. And this positioning here, remember, I am in this position so that way I can shoot at the Venom and help get him off of my team so my team can engage. But I'm also positioning in a way where it's making it harder to hit by not letting them see me, using this wall as cover. I shouldn't have fallen there. I see Spider-Man. I think I can try and kill him. I don't. He thinks I'm running, and I'm not. Now I die, though. I thought I could outplay him there and do some cheeky move by making him think I was going to run away, but I wasn't expecting the amount of sustain. But here I can see that my team is still popping off and doing really well. I see that someone is up there, so I'm trying to keep that in mind, but also there's a Spider-Man over there. I see the Bucky on the point, and I'm trying to get him off because he's wildly out of position, and now I haven't forgotten about the Spider-Man either. I am trying to make sure that once again, the flanker is not on my team. And now that I force him out, my team is safe. I can walk forward. Unfortunately, I didn't see that Bucky must have gotten rezzed. And now I'm just trying to help and follow up on what my team is doing with my terrible aim. Unfortunately, I hit my ult at the same time that Cloak and Dagger had ulted. So I'm getting to safety. This is a safe position for me to stand in. But not from both ults.
Only 60 seconds left.
I kind of thought that, like, with how good we were doing, that we were going to naturally push into the third point. We're having a more difficult time than I thought we were going to. I don't even know how he gets up there. Or I guess it's up and around. So once again, Spider-Man's trying to hook people off, and I'm trying to attack him to make sure that he doesn't get the opportunity to do so. Thing ulted. So immediately I tried to follow up on the amplifier. And now I'm trying to follow up on Spider-Man and make sure that he's out of there. I thought I could survive in the bubble. I'm not enough healing now. I think we just lose this here. Yeah, we don't have time to get there in time. So, at this point, my score is not super great. 7-5. You know, even the Moon Knights is only 12-7. But like, there's not a lot of kills on our end, right? We're struggling really hard. But I noticed that Moon Knight had just been farming damage like crazy. And I was like, what do we need? Do we want me to go support, tank, or a different DPS? And we had agreed as a team that maybe a second DPS might be better. But what I was going to do is play Namor and just basically make it so that way between Namor and Moon Knight, they had a difficult time just walking in at all. I don't need the team up with Namor to make him useful. So this is me going back and forth between tank or DPS. I picked Namor because I was like, it'll help with the Spidey and it'll help keep them from walking in, right? Because once again, our main thing in these games on defense is to just not die. If we just don't die and we just wait that clock out as long as possible, it gives us the best chance of winning. And my goal is to put down squids and keep that Moon Knight alive. And what can kill Moon Knight but dive? So I did not think it was going to fall that far down. Survive the burst because he's got the Venom team up. Use the bubble early instead of after. You don't want to die with it. Just sit near my team, play squids in ways where it attacks anybody walking through the door. Do you see how that squid is attacking that Spider-Man and it's not being shot by the enemy? I'm making it very difficult to reach my win condition, which is Moon Knight, who once again has an ult already, and I'm at 43%. I don't even know. I'm good at the game. I don't even know how he was doing that so successfully as Moon Knight. So this is what I mean by, like, I recognize that I don't know how he's doing that damage, but I'm just going to do what I can to enable him. I'm doing that by using squids to protect him from the dive. I am backing up to a position of safety in which I know that there's cover, so I can hit the rocket ult. And now that we are counter ulting in return, I'm throwing squids and trying to follow up what my team is doing. I'd say Bucky's up here. He's isolated, and we push him out, and I end up getting a lucky spear on him.
Should have retired decades ago, soldier. Quantum magic.
So here, Emma is pushed up way too far, and this is a good lesson in why you don't do this. Once again, that's my duo partner there. He wanted to hold on to his energy, but I feel this is probably a good learning opportunity here. There is nothing that you want to do that's worth dying for. Because once again, now that he's out of this position here, it's not going to take much for the rest of the team to collapse in on him, as the rest of my team is positioned in a smart way, really, really far back. And even if he manages to get out with his energy, right, and he manages to survive, even if he gets out, maybe he survives with like 10 health, he's going to have such low health that by the time he gets back and around this corner and maybe to full, it allowed the team to walk up and take a lot of space. So this is a good example about how once one person falls, you'll see how the rest of us start to fall. This is why I judged deaths in a game and people having high deaths more so than I judge people who have high kills, right? If you have 50 kills in a game, but you have 21 deaths, you are putting your team at a disadvantage a lot of times, right? It doesn't matter how many kills you get when the game is about holding the objective. And the way you hold the objective is by not dying. Because now that we've lost one, I don't think I saw that ult necessarily. We get rezzed and we get immediately destroyed. That was a bad ult on my part too. But here I go, Cap, because now that it has changed from a capture point map to a capture point part of the map to a convoy map, I'm going to do my Cap strategy. And I don't think I'm sure a lot of Captain players made this strategy popular, but I don't know. I see it a lot more in my games now. So here, once again, I am trying to keep the payload from moving because we have 3 minutes and 40 seconds that I'm just trying to keep this payload still. And once again, because I just keep the payload still, my Moon Knight's popping off. And to be fair, I thought I could get some kills and get out, and I got melted. That was on me. I was not expecting that amount of damage. I should not have done that. But they were all really low, so luckily my duo partner followed up on that damage and cleaned it up for me. We all make mistakes. Like right there, my buddy died early on the first point. I shouldn't have died there. Lessons learned, right? So here, I'm going to try and get into a position in which I can safely sort of contest the point. And the higher up you climb, the more people are going to match your angles. They're more going to be aware of your space, right? I just want to get out now. I couldn't find a good angle to get on the payload, but here, now I can get on the payload. I can start applying pressure to their tanks and keep the payload from moving, right? Payload convoy. No matter what tank you're playing, whether it's, on convoy maps, whichever tank you're playing, the question is always, at what angle and at what choke, where can I position myself in which I can keep that convoy from pushing forward, but also do so safely? There's not a decision I'm trying to make as Cap that is going to be in a position where I end up getting myself killed. I'm trying not to do that. So I am always trying to do so in a manner of okay, if I engage on this, do I have a way out? And that way out cannot be, I need my supports to pocket me. Can't be the strategy. Sometimes supports are being dove. Sometimes your supports have to reload. Always plan for, your own way to get out. Also, what happened to his back here? That looks terribly broken. Anyway.
I am ready to put on a show.
I'm just trying to charge my ult. Once again, my Moon Knight's popping off.
Maximum pulse.
I tried to reflect it, didn't work. Moon Knight is really good at dishing out a lot of damage, not very good at getting final hits. What Captain America is really good at is getting that last hit or doing a little bit of damage and staying alive, but he's not good at doing a lot of damage. So him and Moon Knight actually pair up really well together. And I had offered to the Moon Knight, I was like, here are the heroes that I play. Which ones do you think would be best? And he's like, Captain America would be really good. And I was like, I agree. Now the enemy team is ulting. I know that we can't kill anything in this ult. And I immediately go to stand on the payload to keep it from moving. Once our Cloak and Dagger ults, I try to stand under ults and take advantage of that. Because once again, I was going to activate my ult up until Cloak and Dagger ulted. And now that you can see that I'm standing in her ult, I don't need to activate my ult. You don't want to stack ults all at once. Try to win with as few ults as you can. Because if I were to ult right now, it wouldn't matter anything, right? My goal is to run that clock out, and I can run that clock out if I take advantage of Cloak and Dagger's ult, and then once it runs out, then I'll hit it. Once again, I'm trying to take the fight to the convoy, and when I noticed that I heard again, I jumped back to help my team and follow up on what the Bucky was doing, because what I had learned on the offense round when I didn't pay attention to the Bucky, I thought maybe my team would have it. They ended up dying, so this time I was like, no, not this time. Here, because I'm taking advantage of my ult, I'm staying on the payload, making sure it doesn't move anywhere. I have faith. I have faith that if I set this Moon Knight up enough, that he will be able to win the fights I need in order to win this game. Here I go to stand on the payload. I am stalling for time and allowing my team to come back.
Can't beat battlefield medicine.
I don't want to walk in a path which is predictable. You saw how Bucky was looking over in this direction. He thought I was going to run in a straight line, and when I thought, when I figured he was going to assume that, I went a different direction. I thought that was open. I'm assuming I can see that my team is about to get there, so I try to engage at the same time. Using the payload as cover. Trying to provide pressure, and at this point I'm just trying to do enough to get my ult up. And I die at 97% of my ult, which is really unfortunate. But it's still 1 minute and 45 seconds to push to that final point and or to push to where we pushed it. And with how successful I am at stalling out that payload, I know that if I give my Moon Knight enough opportunities, he will eventually win enough fights that we are going to win this game. So immediately I hop on the point and I have the attention of multiple people. I start to attack the support, and once I get to half health, I use my ult in order to try and stay alive. Our Cloak ults to stay to keep us in the fight longer, which is a really good ult on her part. We're able to follow up on the Bucky and get a kill for it. We're keeping the payload from moving, and now I'm trying to follow up and get more staggers. I'm trying to regroup with my team, who I didn't see was backing up, and I get sort of blocked off by the building getting rebuilt. But now that I'm alive, I want to engage back in with health and keep that convoy from moving. So that way, the more space we have, the more chances we have of winning one good fight and the game ending. Because once again, Moon Knight, we got Luna low. Moon Knight throws an Ankh, he gets the kill, right? And he gets everyone really low. Cap follows up and does that little bit of damage that Moon Knight can't get. And now the goal here is with 30 seconds on the clock and with the enemy team walking out of spawn and respawning, all we need to do is win one fight in overtime. That's my goal. And because of the fact that it still has so far to go, even if hypothetically, like, we lost a fight, and I died early, there's still a chance for me to come back and stall it out. I don't want them to push the payload. And as Emma is up there and she is attacking my team, I jump in on the rest of their team and keep them from walking forward. So that way there's no one to follow up on the Emma Frost ult. But I end up dying for it. But I get rezzed. So it puts us in the advantage.
I am ready to put on
And
a show.
our our Moon Knight popped off and got a kill. I get my ult, and now with Luna ulting, nothing is gonna die in this thing. So I'm mostly just trying to pull out resources if I can. I'm taking advantage of my teammates' ult because we ulted afterwards. I'm just trying to dish out damage and hope that Moon Knight can do that. And that's it. I had a really good day playing Psylocke. I was carrying a lot of games. I did a lot of stuff, even on offense. I couldn't get kills, but I could backcap. But in this game, I recognized very quickly that I was not charging ult as fast as Moon Knight was. And even though Moon Knight can't secure as many final hits, he does a lot of damage. I recognized that what I needed to do in order to win this game was just enable him, because you can see uh he had more damage than the enemy DPS combined. And also, if you've seen my DPS, how DPS should peel video, like this is that same Moon Knight that I went 25-1 against. And then in the very next game, he ends up carrying me into GM. Part of this game is understanding that it is a team game and that there are times where you're not going to necessarily be playing your best. You're not necessarily going to go up against a team comp that you can do super well against. And that's okay. But if there's someone on your team who is doing well, if you can switch to support or tank or a different DPS to help enable them, you might secure the win easier than just trying to force certain picks to work, right? This is the reason why, like, if you're one tricking, you might actually put yourself at a disadvantage by trying to force something that just might not be working at the time. But yeah, you know, have some humility, put your ego aside, and recognize in game when certain players are doing better than you, and ask yourself, what can I do to enable them to just carry me to victory? Because you can't be the carry every game, and it's a lot easier sometimes to just, if you carry 19 or if you carry 17 out of 18 games and the last one you're struggling with, like, it's okay to just let yourself be carried the rest of the way. No harm in that. Anyways, no shame in that. Anyway, that's my video for today. I hope you found it useful. I hope you took away some interesting information out of this. And yeah, let me know if you found anything interesting in this one.